What's going on, everyone? Hootmoney here with another video for you guys today. Today we're going to be talking about the Russia-Ukraine war, the potential invasion of Ukraine by Russia, and what this possibly means for the stock market. Everyone's saying a massive, major crash is coming. I'm here to bring certainty to some of that FUD, and we can see how exactly this might play out. So drop a like on the video if you guys enjoy this content. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So first things first, the sponsor of this channel is Moomoo, a licensed FINRA broker. They do absolutely zero payment for order flow. They're also doing a promotion where you deposit $1 on their platform. You get up to $7,000 in free stock. I've seen people get Apple stocks, Google stocks. You can potentially even get an Amazon stock just by depositing $1 on their platform. The links are below in the description or pinned comment section. If you deposit $100, you get an extra share of AMC. So it's essentially free money for depositing $1 on their platform. Absolute no-brainer, especially with the uncertainty and everything's going on in the market. This is a certain return on your money. So again, the links are below. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So this all relies on NATO. These are the current countries of NATO. And as you guys can see, Ukraine and Belarus bordering Russia right here, they are not a part of NATO. Now, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, those countries are all a part of NATO. Moving back to 1997, NATO was completely different. Only the highlighted countries in purple were a part of NATO. Ever since then, all of these orange countries have joined NATO. And with Estonia and Latvia bordering Russia, this puts pressure on Vladimir Putin, to do something about the situation. Now, this is important because in 1990, Western Europe basically said to Putin that they weren't going to expand an inch east of where they are. So they essentially promised Putin that they would remain these purple countries and never move into these orange countries. Obviously, that promise was broken after 1997 when all of these orange countries joined, including the bordering countries of Estonia and Latvia to Russia. So why the heck does Russia want to invade Ukraine of all places? This goes back to 2014 when there was a war between Ukraine and Russia. What essentially happened was that at the time, Ukraine had a pro-Russian president. People of Ukraine that sided more with Western Europe than Russia, they decided to protest. All of this chaos essentially led to Russia annexing this part of Ukraine known as Crimea in the southeastern part of Ukraine. And ever since then, it's been an ongoing conflict. Crimea is this peninsula region of Ukraine that sticks out into the Black Sea. Russia also currently controls this region right here where the city of Donetsk lies. So there's been an ongoing conflict in Ukraine because it is a very similar country to Russia, and there were many people that did side with Russia. There's many people that speak the Russian language, but at the same time, there are many more people that don't want anything to do with Russia and want to be a part of NATO and side with Western Europe. So recently, Ukraine announced that they want to be a part of NATO, and going back to this image right here showing the orange countries that have joined NATO against what the West promised Russia, adding Ukraine to NATO would be a big FU to Putin and Russia. So because of this, Putin feels the need that he needs to take action and potentially invade Ukraine and stop it from going to NATO. So why is this even relevant to the United States stock market whatsoever? As you guys can see here, the United States stock market has been falling for multiple different reasons, such as raising interest rates from the Federal Reserve, but also partly due to the fact of this Ukraine conflict. And moving over here, if we search SPY, which is the S&P 500 in this news feed, almost every single piece of news has to do with the Ukraine and Russia conflict. Russia invading Ukraine can lead to things such as slowed GDP growth across Europe and the rest of the world, economic sanctions on Russia and Russia on Europe, and the big one is oil. Oil is the big one. So in terms of oil prices rise as conflicts continue. We have seen prices as up to $100 per barrel. This is the highest prices that we have seen in 7 years, and it could potentially go higher. Right now, oil is about $90 per barrel, so there's still potentially room to go in terms of oil prices if Russia invades Ukraine. Also, Russia currently exports about 50% of the oil used by all of Europe. Russia is an oil supergiant, right? And if Russia shuts down their exports of oil to all of Europe, this could lead to bad economic activity. So when Russia annexed Crimea back in 2014, it led to roughly a 5% impact on the equity market. Well, Crimea is only a small part of this giant country of Ukraine, and their capital, Kiev, is the most valuable part of this country. So if Russia invades Ukraine and takes over Ukraine, it should lead to a much larger impact than if they just invade Crimea. And that was a 5% correction in the S&P 500 when they did that. So what should you do with your stocks in your portfolio? Well, long term, this probably won't be an issue. I highly doubt we will be talking about Russia and Ukraine in 1 year from today, and I doubt it's going to be a very large news story unless, of course, Russia does invade Ukraine and this leads to a massive war. In the short term, however, although no one knows, stocks are likely to go down because a Russian invasion of Ukraine does have economic consequences for the entire world, not just the United States. What I'm personally doing is pretty much nothing. I'm sitting on my hands. I'm leaving my long-term investments because my thesis is the same. I do believe that long-term, the stock market will continue to thrive and continue to go up. Short-term, this added volatility with the news sources always flip-flopping. Russia's invading Ukraine. Russia's not invading Ukraine. Russia's invading Ukraine. All of that adds uncertainty and volatility to the market, making it extremely hard to profit. So I'm just sitting on my hands for the most part, gambling with some low premium bets. And honestly, that's about it. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop a like if you guys did. Subscribe to the channel for more content. And if you wanted to check out Moomoo, where you can get up to $7,000 in free stock as long as you deposit $1 on their platform. The link's below in the description or pinned comment section for that. Anyways, I hope you enjoy your long weekend. Hootmoney out.